Okay, so everybody's going to start off with a slab of clay, and you're going to have a rolling pin or a stick to roll it out with. When you roll it out, you have to roll and flip. You've got to roll and flip. And before you start, you need to make sure that your table is really clean, because this clay will pick up anything that's left on your table. So roll and flip. And you see how I'm going horizontal, vertical there? So that goes from vertical, and then I lay it flat like that, horizontally, and roll and flip. Now you're rolling these out so they're about as thick as a pencil. About that thick there. It's about as thick as you want. You can roll it out maybe a little bit thinner, but not much thinner than that. You don't want it to be paper thin, because then it will tear too easily. Okay. Now if you do end up getting some paint like I've got there, it's not a big deal. It won't be there after it's done firing. If you got a little thick area, I can feel a little thick area, and when you roll it, when you rub your hand over it, it should feel nice and smooth and even on all the sides. Now, what you're going to do then is you're going to pick out some leaves. And you want to pick out different size leaves. You only want a few big ones, and it's better to have a lot of smaller ones than a lot of bigger ones. So there's my big one, and I've got a medium sized one. That's almost kind of a big one there. Here's a smaller one. And if it's got a stem on that, just take the stem off, because that'll just get in your way. Got some smaller and medium sized ones. You want to try to fit in as many leaves as you can in one roll. And the more variety of leaves you have, the better it will look. So here's a nice small one here that will fit right there for me. And let's see if I can find some different kinds. I've picked out all different kinds of leaves for you. There's another maple leaf. There. That one's got a hole in it, but that's okay. That'll add to it. And I'm laying it down so that the veiny side is facing the clay and the top is facing us. And let's see, I need to find one more interesting leaf here. There we go. I think I'll use this one. That'll be cool. Take the stem off there. I think I'm actually going to replace it with this one. Now, I've already put some texture on there, so I can just rub that out with my finger. Cool. Just like that. Then take your rolling pin and very gently and very slowly roll your leaf into the clay. Very gently and very slowly like that. Just go a couple of times. And then you can start taking your leaves out. And you can see the texture is still left inside of your clay there. Now you'll need a pin tool. Remember your pin tool safety. And if you need your pin tool to help pick up those leaves, then you can use your pin tool just to sort of pick up one of the corner edges. And then you very carefully, so you don't rip the leaf, so that you or somebody else can use it later, you peel it up just like that. And after they're peeled up, you cut around it. Now you don't have to cut every single little jaggedness of the edge. And you don't have to push your pin tool down very hard, because you don't want to rip the plastic tablecloth. You're just cutting it out of the clay. And then you take that extra clay off to the side there. Cutting out these leaves. Taking that extra clay, putting it off to the side. Now you want the bigger leaves are going to be the bottom part of your plate. So cut out the bigger leaves first and lay those down inside your plate. And then you can kind of overlap it off the plate a little bit. Now what you do not want to do is you don't want to wrap it around. Just have it hang off the side there, like that. I'm going to take my other big leaf here. That's my next biggest one. And carefully peel it off the table. Now, in order to glue these two together, what I need to do is what's called slip and score. And I need this little sponge and some water, and I dip it in my water. I squeeze out all the extra, squeeze it out so that it's just a damp sponge. Then I do what's called slip and score, and I'm roughing up the area that's going to get glued down, and I rough up the area here that's going to get glued down. And then I put those two areas together and press down gently. Okay? If you would also like, you can cut your leaf out while the leaf is still on the clay. Although I think it's a little harder to do that because it's a lot easier to tear the leaf that way. So I think it's better to cut out. See how I tore that leaf there? That's why you want to take the leaf off first and then cut it out. So that leaf is tearing all over the place there. There we go. And then I'm going to slip and score this leaf onto my plate. And very carefully take my clay leaf off of the plastic because it wants to stick a little bit. I'm going to put this one right there. So I need to slip and score the back by getting a damp, rough sponge, roughing all that up. And see how that's all roughed up there? Rough up this area that I'm going to glue it onto. See how I've roughed that up and kind of flattened it out? There we go, just like that. Okay. Up like this. Do it on this one. I'm going to put it right there. Rough that area up right there. Rough that area up right there. Okay. Continue to do that with all of these leaves. You probably only need about, somewhere between 5 and 7 leaves, depending on the size of the leaf. We're going to put a couple of layers of leaves on there. And all this extra clay we're going to save, and we're going to recycle this extra clay. So make sure that none of the leaf parts get in that clay, no trash get in that clay. Keep all this scrap clay in a pile together so that we can put that in the clay recycling later. Carefully peel this up so that it doesn't rip. And again, I'm going to slip and score the areas that I'm putting together. Just like that. Got one more leaf, one more space for a leaf. I'm going to do this leaf right here. Cut this out. Slip and score. I'm going to put that one right there. Slip and score. And it lays right there. And now I've got a beautiful leaf plate that is ready to go get dried and fired. When you're done with these, you're going to get a scrap piece of paper. Write your name and class code on the scrap piece of paper and just put it right there on top of your plate.